Hey, thank you for choosing Orange County Cedo truck. Right now, what we're going to do today is going to go over the bright side of the truck. After the engine, then you would just move to this part right here, and you would check the mirrors and door and everything from there. If you're doing Form B, you would start here, and then you'd keep working your way back. Right here, what we got is the mirrors. If you did the full form, you would go from the engine, come straight to here. But yeah, so the Form B, first thing we're going to do is check our mirror bracket. Mirror bracket secured with nuts and bolts. It's not cracked, damaged, or missing. We're not talking about the glass. We're just talking about the bracket itself. The door opens and closes properly. It is secured with hinges, which are not cracked, damaged, or missing. The door seal right here is not cracked, damaged, or missing. Coming to here, our steps. Our steps are secured with nuts and bolts, not cracked, damaged, no illegal debris, oil, or grease on them. Our fuel tank. Our fuel tank is secured with metal straps, with the rubber seal, rubber gasket, rubber thingamabobber underneath. Whatever you say is perfectly fine. It's not cracked, damaged, or missing. Our tank is not cracked, damaged, or leaking. Our fuel cap is properly secured, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. This is where I filled up at if I needed to. There is some examiners that say, well, how do you know if it's leaking? You're going to say, okay, I would smell it, see it, or feel it. Not every examiner does that, but some do, just so kind of get ready. This, you can say, I would check this hydraulic tank the same way as my fuel tank. Would you like me to? More than likely, they're going to say no, unless you messed up here. Then we're going to come over here to the catwalk, which the cones won't be here. Catwalk, it's secured with nuts and bolts. Right here. Not cracked, damaged, no illegal debris on it, so no oil or grease on them. Then we're going to come to the cross members. Cross members, they're secured with nuts and bolts. They're not cracked or damaged, and no illegal welds or drill holes. Then we're going to go to the drive shaft. Drive shaft is not cracked, damaged, it's straight, nothing wrapped around it. It's secured at the universal joints, which are properly greased with nuts and bolts. And then we're going to keep coming in here to the exhaust. Exhaust secured with nuts and bolts, not cracked, damaged, or leaking. If it was leaking, I would see black soot wherever it's leaking from. If you want to talk about the frame, you can, but we'll grab the frame back here. Coming back here, and we're going to come to the rear axle. So the rear axle, we're going to start the same exact spot we started up front, which is kind of the axle. So we don't have steering or anything like that. So let's just start at the axle. It's straight, nothing wrapped around it. Then we got these guys right here, which is U-bolts. U-bolts are properly connected, not cracked, damaged, secured with 4 nuts on the underside. Leaf springs. Leaf springs, we have no more than a quarter of my leaf springs are damaged and missing, or else my truck is out of service. Secured with leaf spring hanger or mount, secured with nuts and bolts, not cracked, damaged. Then we have a torque spring, like you're torquing down on something. Secured with nuts and bolts, it's not cracked or damaged, not missing. Then we're going to come into the brakes. Brake hoses, not cracked, damaged, or leaking, and secured to both ends. Coming into the brake chamber, it's a dual brake chamber, not cracked, damaged, or leaking, and secured with nuts and bolts. All the clamps are not missing as well. It's hard to see, but you're going to have to get that push rod. If you kind of look across, sometimes you can see it over there. Coming out, the push rod right there. Push rod, secured with pin and safety pin, not cracked or damaged. Slack adjuster, still has a slack adjuster over there, still has the 2 things coming out. Kind of hard to see, sorry. Let me see if I can grab this side really quick. Slack adjuster, it's not cracked, damaged. There it is. Secured with pin and safety pin. No more than 2 inches of play back here, because we have 2 chambers. 1, 2. And we have 2 hoses, 1, 2. So 2 hoses, 2 chambers, 2 inches back here. Okay, then we go into the S-cam, which we don't need, but we can talk about it if we want to. Then we come into the brake shoes. Not cracked, damaged, no illegal debris, no less than a 1/4 inch of pad left, or else the truck is out of service. The drum, not cracked, damaged, no illegal debris, no dents, no hot spots, no illegal welds. Rim, no illegal dents, no illegal holes, cracked, damaged, or illegal welds. All 3 sides of my tire. Make sure all 3 sides of my tire, no abrasion, bumps, or cuts. No less than 2 30 seconds back here. We have 2 tires, and therefore it's 2 30 seconds. When we have 1 tire, which is the most important tire, it's 4 30 seconds. 2 tires is 2 30 seconds. Okay, and then you come in between the tires. There's no debris. There's no, the tires are not touching each other. You come out here and say I would check this tire the same as that tire. Coming out here, we got our lug nuts. Our lug nuts are all in place. They're not cracked or damaged. No legal debris, no shiny threads or rust trails indicating they were loose. Here's our axle seal. Axle seal back here, hub seal up front, hub seal in the trailer. It's not cracked, damaged, or leaking, secured with nuts and bolts. Valve stem is usually hiding sometimes. Valve stem is not cracked or damaged. It's where we fill up and check our air to 105 psi with the tire gauge. Coming out here. Come to the back. Okay, this is our mud flap. Secured with nuts and bolts. It's not cracked, damaged, or dragging. We will have DOT tape here. Our DOT tape is red and white in color, not cracked, damaged, or missing. Coming in here to our lights. Our lights, they're left signal, right signal, four ways. Brake lights and running lights. They're not cracked, damaged, red in color. We also have our reverse lights, which are white in color. Now we're going to go inside to the fifth wheel. Okay, our fifth wheel. It's kind of hard to see, but our kingpin is straight up and down. It's not cracked, damaged, properly greased. There it is. Okay, the locking jaw is the horizontal bar right there going from left to right, holding the kingpin in. It's not cracked, damaged, properly greased. There's no visible space between the trailer and the fifth wheel. And the apron is not cracked, damaged, and properly greased. Now the DMV, some people call this the apron where it's tapered down, and some people call this part on the trailer the apron. So that's why we're just not going to point. We're just going to say apron. It's properly greased, not cracked or damaged. Okay, we're going to come out over here. Come back to the fifth wheel. Skid plate is right here, which is not cracked or damaged and properly greased. That's the top of the fifth wheel. Platform is this guy right here. So platform secured with nuts and bolts, pins and safety pins, not cracked or damaged, and no illegal welds. Coming out over here, last thing we're going to talk about is our air lines. They're not cracked, damaged, or leaking, secured to both ends. Glad hands, they're not cracked, damaged, or leaking, properly secured. Electrical, it's properly connected at both ends. It's not cracked, damaged, or frayed, and properly connected. Right there is that little connection. Oh, I'm sorry. Right there. Okay. Then you're going to move on to the trailer. And that'll be the next video. Thank you again for choosing Orange County CDL Truck Rental. If you have any questions, please give us a call or email occdltruckrental@gmail.com. Thank you and have a wonderful day.